generator in the garage, Hyundai U7000 is. Bought it 3 years ago when Superstorm Ida knocked us out for 8 days. It's got maybe 40 hours of runtime left if I'm doing the math right. 40 hours. That's accounting for the LED conversion I did last summer. Every bulb in this house. Cost me $400 at Home Depot, but Jenna said it was excessive. Not excessive now. Now it's the difference between. I'm not thinking about that. Caleb's in his room. 11 years old. He's supposed to be packing, but I can hear Fortnite through the ceiling. The Palisades subdivision went dark 2 hours ago. That's 4 miles west of us here in Meadowbrook Estates. The emergency alert said they lost a transformer, but the Facebook group, the one Jenna runs for the neighborhood association, somebody posted that the Pattersons' house has every light on. Every single one. And nobody's answering when people knock. I'm in the kitchen checking the breaker panel for the 3rd time tonight because that's what I do when I'm stressed. Find something technical to verify. All switches up. The floodlights I installed last month around the perimeter, those are on their own circuit 20 amp dedicated line. Overkill for LED, but I wasn't thinking about LEDs when I spec'd it. I was thinking about the time the Henderson's motion sensors failed during that break-in attempt on Willow Court. Jenna's phone keeps buzzing. She's at the dining room table with her laptop, Township Emergency Coordinator, volunteer position, doesn't pay anything but she takes it seriously. Too seriously. I keep telling her the township doesn't care about us the way she cares about the township. Danny. She's not looking up. Danny. The county EMA says stay inside and maintain illumination. I saw the alert. So why are you putting the camping gear in the pilot? Because the county EMA doesn't live in Meadowbrook Estates. Because the Palisades subdivision is 4 miles away and Riverside Gardens went dark this morning. That's 7 miles. Because I'm doing math in my head about transmission patterns and I don't like what the calculator's showing me. Caleb needs to pack. I tell her. Real clothes. Not just his switch. The alert says shelter in place. The alert says maintain illumination. We can maintain illumination in my brother's cabin in the Poconos. 3 hours north. We leave now, we're there before. Before what? Before the Palisades subdivision spread goes exponential, is what I don't say. Before whatever's happening 4 miles west gets here. I work in logistics for a medical supply company, pandemic planning, distribution networks, infection modeling. Not a doctor. Not a scientist. Just a guy who got real good at Excel models during COVID because our hospital contracts depended on accurate predictions. The numbers I'm running in my head aren't theoretical anymore. Jenna's looking at me now. We've been married 14 years. She knows my disaster prep face. She calls it my Danny's buying 50 pounds of rice again face. It's probably just infrastructure failure, she says. There's a rational explanation. Yeah, probably. My phone buzzes. Text from Pete Duvall, 3 houses down. Pete works for PSE&G, 22 years on the electrical grid. Danny, you seeing this shit? Palisades transformers are fine. Something's wrong. We're keeping every light on. Linda won't let the kids sleep. I'm texting back, how many hours you got on backup power? When Caleb yells from upstairs, Dad, Dad, the street light's out. I'm moving before Jenna can stop me. Through the living room front door out onto the porch. The LED streetlight at the corner of Oakmont Drive and our street, Sycamore Lane. It's dark. I installed campaign signs under that light last November. Noticed then it was a newer LED fixture, maybe 5 years old. Township upgraded them. Those things don't just burn out. Pete's house 3 doors down, every window blazing. The Kowalski's place next to him, same thing. Our house, same thing. But that corner streetlight, it's dead. And in the darkness underneath I can see. No, I can't see anything. That's the problem. Too dark under that dead light. Shadows that might be movement but could be the oak tree swaying. My eyes want to invent shapes. Danny, come inside. Jenna's in the doorway behind me. You're standing in the dark. I'm not though. The porch light's on. The floods around the house, all 6 of them, those are on. I'm standing in a circle of light looking out at a darkness that shouldn't feel this dark. We're in suburban New Jersey. There's ambient light everywhere, houses, cars, the strip mall 2 blocks over. But that corner under the dead street light, that darkness feels thick. Caleb's packing, Jenna says. I told him 15 minutes. I turn around. She's got her phone in one hand and that look on her face. The one that means she's made a decision she doesn't like, but she's made it anyway. Township emergency coordinator caving to logistics analyst husband. 3 hours to the cabin, she says. We're back by Monday if this is nothing. It's not nothing. I know. Inside, I'm checking the camping gear one more time. Flashlights, I've got 6 of them, all LED, all with fresh Energizer lithiums. The good ones, not the cheap alkalines that leak. Plus 2 rechargeable spotlights, the DeWalt ones that take the same battery as my drill. Plus the headlamps. Plus the hand crank emergency radio with the built-in flashlight. Jenna's watching me count. That's a lot of flashlights. We're going to need them. Why? I don't answer because I don't know why. Just that the math in my head about transmission patterns and the darkness under that streetlight and Pete's text about Palisades transformers being fine. It's all adding up to something that makes me want every light source I own in the back of our Honda Pilot. Caleb comes downstairs dragging his Spider-Man duffel. He's got his switch case in the other hand. Dad, can we stop at Wawa? I didn't eat dinner. We'll stop. Danny. Jenna's voice has that edge. Look at the group chat. I pull up the Meadowbrook Estates Facebook group on my phone. Jenna's the admin. Normally it's complaints about lawn services and coyote sightings. Now it's Amy Fletcher. All our lights just went out. Breaker won't reset. Kevin Rhodes. Same here on Birchwood. Everything dead. Amy Fletcher. Kevin, are you okay? Can you see anything outside? Kevin Rhodes. Getting in the car. Getting out. Taking the kids to my sister's in Princeton. Amy Fletcher. Kevin? Amy Fletcher. Kevin answer. The messages stop. I'm checking the timestamp. 2 minutes ago. The Fletchers live on Oakmont Drive, near that dead streetlight. The Rhodes family is on Birchwood. That's parallel to us, 1 street over. We're leaving, I say. Now. Jenna's already moving, grabbing her laptop, unplugging her phone charger. Caleb's looking between us, starting to understand this isn't a fun camping trip. Dad, what's happening? Get in the car, buddy. Front seat. Your navigator. Really? He never gets front seat. Jenna's rule, not till he's 13. But Jenna nods, and that's when Caleb realizes this is serious. I'm doing one last check. Generator still running in the garage. Every light in the house burning. The floods outside casting our yard in LED white. I should turn them off, conserve fuel, but something in my lizard brain says no. Leave them on. Light means safety, superstition. Stupid. I turn off the interior lights. Leave the exterior floods running. We're in the Pilot, backing down the driveway when the house goes dark. All of it. Every exterior flood, simultaneously. Danny, I see it. The generator's still running. I can hear it from here. But the lights are out. Not a breaker trip. Something else. In the darkness around our house, I see the Duvall's place 3 doors down. Still lit. Every window bright. And between their house and ours, in the shadows of the dead streetlights and the failed floods, something's moving. Multiple somethings. Human-shaped. Walking with that wrong gait, the one I've only seen in videos of people sleepwalking. Arms at their sides. Just steady movement toward heat, toward light, toward the Duvall's house where Pete's keeping his family awake and illuminated. I'm pulling onto Sycamore Lane, headlights cutting the darkness. In the rearview mirror, I watch our house recede. Every light dead. And on our lawn, standing perfectly still in the darkness we just left behind. A figure. Too far to see details. Just a silhouette. Watching us leave. Caleb's turned around in his seat. Dad, somebody's in our yard. Face forward, buddy. Navigate. Which way to 287? The Wawa parking lot on Route 10 is a mistake. I know it as soon as we pull in. Too bright. Every fluorescent burning. The pumps lit up. Cars everywhere. People know. Whatever's happening in the subdivisions, the word's spreading. Families with overnight bags, people filling gas cans, the tension in everyone's movements. Jenna's checking her phone. The township Facebook page, it's blowing up. Mountainside, Cranford, Westfield. All reporting outages and people acting strange. Acting strange how? Walking in the dark. Not responding when called. One post says her neighbor was outside all night, just standing in the shadows. When sunrise came, he collapsed. They called 911, but by the time paramedics arrived, he was. She stops. Caleb's listening. He was what? Asked. Unresponsive. Cold to the touch. But breathing. They took him to Overlook Medical. I'm running the numbers. Mountainside is 8 miles from Meadowbrook. Cranford is 6. Westfield is 10. 3-mile radius yesterday. 10-mile radius tonight. By tomorrow morning. We need to go. I say, Dad, I have to pee. Caleb's unbuckling. Make it fast. 2 minutes. He's out of the car, running for the Wawa entrance. Jenna and I sit in the pilot, engine running, lights on. Around us, families are doing the same thing. Nobody's turning off their cars. Every headlight stays burning. The parking lot looks like a concert venue, all these parallel beams cutting the night. My phone rings. Pete Duval. Danny, you still in the neighborhood? Route 10. Heading to the cabin. Smart. Listen, PSENG activated me for emergency assessment. They're sending me to Palisades subdivision. Got a radiation detector, hazmat protocol, full safety team. They think maybe there's a gas leak causing hallucinations. Pete, you saw the same thing I did. That's not a gas leak. I know, but I'm going anyway because somebody's got to document what's actually happening. If I find something, evidence, pattern data, whatever, I'll send it to you. You're the logistics guy. Maybe you can model this thing. Model what? The spread. The infection. Whatever the fuck this is. He's quiet for a second. I hear Linda in the background, yelling something. Then Pete's back. Linda wants me to stay. Kids are freaking out. But if I don't go, if nobody gets real data on this thing, you've got kids, Pete. Stay with them. I've got kids in a world that might be ending. What good is staying if I don't help stop it? He hangs up. Jenna's watching me. Pete's going into Palisades? Yeah, that's where it started. I know. Caleb's coming back from the Wawa, carrying a bag of Doritos and a Mountain Dew. He gets in the front seat, buckles up. Normal kid movements. The world might be ending, but his world contains Doritos and front seat privileges. Dad, the lady at the register said we should go north. Said all the smart people are going north. She's right. We're pulling onto Route 10, heading for 287 north. When my phone buzzes, text from Pete. Photo attachment. I'm driving so Jenna opens it. She goes quiet. The bad kind of quiet. What? Danny, pull over. We're 2 minutes from the highway. Pull over. I pull into a closed Friendly's parking lot. Jenna hands me the phone. Pete's photo shows the Palisades subdivision entrance. The decorative brick gateway with Palisades, a community of excellence in brass letters. And behind it, in the darkness beyond the dead streetlights, figures. Dozens of them, maybe 100, all standing perfectly still, all facing the same direction, toward the lit PSENG truck where Pete's team is staging. The timestamp says 15 minutes ago. Jenna's breathing has changed. Are they dead? I don't know. They're standing. Dead people don't stand. I don't know what they are. Another text from Pete. They're not responding to voice commands. Not moving unless lights go out. Thermal imaging shows body temp at 92 degrees. Hypothermic but alive. If lights fail, they walk toward heat sources. Maintain illumination. I'm forwarding this to Jenna. She's forwarding it to the Township Emergency Coordinator Network. Her hands are shaking. The hospital, she says. Overlook Medical. If they're bringing infected people there, they won't know to keep the lights on. I finish. Caleb's eating Doritos, watching us. Are people sick? Yeah, buddy. People are sick. Like flu sick. Different kind of sick. Route 287 North is jammed. We're in gridlock a quarter mile from the entrance ramp. Cars everywhere, all heading north, all with headlights blazing. The shoulder is packed. People are driving on the grass median. Jenna's on her phone. County EMA just updated. Shelter-in-place order lifted. New directive is evacuate north of Interstate 80. That's 40 miles from here, I say. At this rate, we'll be sitting in traffic till sunrise. Then what? Then we figure out if sunrise matters. My phone buzzes. Pete again. This time it's a video. I don't want to watch it. I'm watching anyway. The PSENG truck lights are off. The video is night vision green. In the frame, the Palisades subdivision entrance is now empty except for, no, not empty. The figures are moving. All of them simultaneously walking toward a house at the end of the street. Single file. Silent. When they reach the house, every light burning inside, they stop at the perimeter. Just outside the property line. Waiting. The video cuts off. Text from Pete. They can't enter lit areas. The light creates a boundary. But if the lights fail. Another text. Danny, if the lights fail, they go inside. We've got bodies, sorry, occupied homes. Families barricaded inside with flashlights and candles. The things outside just wait. Waiting for the lights to die. Batteries to run out. Candles to burn down. Jenna reads over my shoulder. Oh God, the generator. Our house. 40 hours. I say, that's what I calculated. What happens at 40 hours? I don't answer. In the pilot's headlights, I can see the car ahead of us. Family of 4. Kids in the back. Same as us. We're all running the same math. How far can we get before the lights fail? How long before the batteries die? How many hours between us and darkness? Caleb's finished his Doritos. He's looking at the traffic, the gridlock, the families sitting in their cars with engines running and headlights burning. Dad, how much gas do we have? I checked the gauge. 3/4 tank. Enough. Enough for what? Enough to reach the cabin if this traffic moves. Enough to sit here burning fuel with the lights on for maybe 6 hours if it doesn't. Enough to make choices I don't want to think about. Enough to get where we're going, buddy. My phone buzzes. Pete. Voice message this time. I put it on speaker. Danny. Linda says I'm an idiot for staying, but somebody needs to document this. The things infected, transformed, whatever they are, they're organized. Not like zombies. Not random. They're hunting as a coordinated group. Targeting houses systematically. Starting with the ones that have the weakest light sources. Candles first. Then flashlights. Then battery backup. They can sense power consumption. I think. Or heat signatures. Or both. Whatever they're using, they're efficient. Palisades subdivision is now 40% dark. The 40% that's dark, occupied by them, the families that were inside. He stops. Breath. We found one family in the basement. All 4 of them, standing in the dark. Body temp at 91 degrees. Eyes open, not responding. We tried to extract them, but when we turned on our flashlights, they moved. Toward us. We had to retreat. Danny, they're spreading. Not just within subdivisions. Between them, we're tracking movement vectors. They're heading east. Toward denser population centers. Toward. The message cuts off. Jenna's crying. Quiet crying. The kind where she's trying not to let Caleb hear. I reach over, take her hand. Her fingers are ice cold. We're going to be okay. I tell her, you don't know that. I know we're in a car with 3/4 tank of gas, heading north with every light source I own in the back. That's better than the people still in their houses. Pete's still in his house. Pete made his choice. Traffic moves. 6 feet. Then stops again. We've been sitting here 20 minutes. The fuel gauge hasn't moved, but I know we're burning gas just idling. Everyone is. Hundreds of cars, all running, all burning fuel, all keeping lights on. I'm thinking about the math. How long before the gas runs out? How long before the batteries die? How long before someone in this traffic jam runs out of light and becomes one of them, and suddenly we're not just running from the darkness behind us but surrounded by it? Head against the window, Doritos bag in his lap. 11 years old. He should be home playing Fortnite. He should be complaining about homework. He should be living in a world where darkness is just the absence of light, not something that hunts. Jenna, I say quietly, if this traffic doesn't move, if we run out of gas before we reach the cabin, what do we do? She's quiet for a long time. Then we stay in the car. Keep the headlights on as long as possible. Use the flashlights, the spotlights, everything we have. And when those die, they won't die. We'll find more batteries. We'll find a gas station. We'll keep moving. And if we can't, she looks at me. 14 years of marriage. She knows what I'm asking. What happens when the lights fail? What happens to Caleb? What happens to us? We don't let that happen, she says. We just don't. My phone buzzes. Pete, text message. Get off 287. Too much traffic. You'll run out of gas. Take back roads. Less people. More gas stations still operating. Sending you a route. Take it. A map file downloads. Alternative route. County roads through Morris County. Adds an hour but avoids the gridlock. Pete's a logistics guy too. He understands the math. I'm already maneuvering onto the shoulder, cutting across the grass median, heading for the exit ramp we just passed. Jenna doesn't argue. She sees what I see. This gridlock is a death trap. Everyone running the same math. Everyone reaching the same conclusion at the same moment. When the first cars run out of gas, when the first lights fail, the infection won't just be behind us anymore. It'll be right here. County Road 24 is dark. I mean really dark. No streetlights, no houses close to the road, just trees pressing in on both sides. The pilot's headlights cut tunnels through the blackness. High beams on, fog lights on. Every light this vehicle has. Caleb woke up when I took the exit. Now he's watching the darkness slide past his window. Dad, where are we? Back roads. Pete sent us a better route. It's really dark. I know, buddy. That's okay. We've got lights. But I'm thinking about what Pete said. They hunt toward heat sources, toward light, and we're a beacon rolling through the darkness. Every other car took 287. We're alone out here. Jenna's on her phone. The Township Coordinator Network, they're saying Overlook Medical lost power. Backup generators failed. 17 minutes ago. Where'd you see that? County EMA alert. Unofficial. They're not broadcasting it widely because... She stops. Because panic. Because if people know the hospital is dark, they'll realize nowhere is safe. I'm doing math again. Overlook Medical is 15 miles from Meadowbrook. If it went dark 17 minutes ago, and the infected move at walking speed, say 3 miles per hour, they could cover the distance in 5 hours. It's 11:47 p.m. now. By 5 a.m. they could be... No, they're not moving in straight lines toward targets. They're spreading outward from infection zones. Radial expansion. But the density, how many infected per square mile? Pete said Palisades was 40% occupied. 400 homes in Palisades. 40% is 160 homes. Average 4 people per home. That's 640 infected from one subdivision alone. And Mountainside, and Cranford, and Westfield, all reporting similar numbers. We're talking thousands, maybe tens of thousands by now. Jenna's watching me. You're calculating. Yeah. What are you calculating? How fast this spreads? How many there are? How long before? Before what? Before there's nowhere to run to. Before every light source fails. Before darkness is the only thing left. Before we need to make decisions. I say instead. She knows what I mean. I can see it in her face. We've got enough supplies to reach the cabin. but the cabin runs on well water and propane. No grid power. I've got a generator there too, older Honda EU2200i, maybe 20 hours of runtime. After that, we're on flashlights and batteries. After that, my phone buzzes. Not Pete this time. Unknown number. I almost don't answer, but something makes me hit accept. Danny Brennan? Yeah. Who's this? Dr. Rashida Coleman, Overlook Medical Center. Emergency department. Your neighbor, Pete Duval, he gave me your number. Said you're a logistics analyst. Said you might be able to help model the spread pattern of what we're dealing with. Doctor, I'm not. I'm just a supply chain guy. I'm not an epidemiologist. Neither am I. I'm an ER doctor watching my hospital get overrun by patients who aren't sick in any conventional sense. We lost main power and backup power. The infected, that's what we're calling them now. They came in through every entrance. Loading dock, ambulance bay, front doors. Dozens of them. They only moved when the lights failed. Now they're in the building. We've got staff and patients barricaded on the upper floors with flashlights and phone lights. But those won't last. We need data. We need to understand the pattern. We need to know how long. Her voice cuts off. I hear screaming in the background. Then she's back. How long until sunrise? She finishes. That's all I need to know. Will sunrise stop them? I don't know. Pete said you're good at modeling. He sent me your pandemic distribution work. You predicted hospital supply needs within 3% accuracy. You understand transmission patterns. So model this, please, because if sunrise doesn't stop them, we need to know what will. I'm pulling over. County Road 24, middle of nowhere, stopping on the shoulder with hazards on. Jenna's looking at me like I've lost my mind. Danny, what are you doing? Working. I'm pulling out my laptop. Dr. Coleman, send me everything. Patient admission times, temperature data, movement patterns, anything you've got. Why are we stopped? Jenna's voice is rising. We need to keep moving. I need data to understand what we're running from. We know what we're running from. We saw it in our yard. We saw symptoms. I need to understand the disease. Files are coming through. Dr. Coleman sent dozens of documents. Patient intake logs, security camera footage timestamps, temperature readings, movement tracking data from hospital security. I'm building a spreadsheet. Column A, time of initial exposure. Column B, time of transformation completion. Column C, body temperature at transformation. Column D, light sensitivity threshold. Caleb's watching me type. Dad, what are you doing? Math, buddy. Trying to figure out patterns. The data is consistent, terrifyingly consistent. Initial exposure to completion of transformation, 6 to 8 hours. Body temperature at transformation, 91 to 93 degrees Fahrenheit. Light sensitivity threshold. Anything below 200 lumens causes avoidance behavior. Above 200 lumens creates an absolute barrier. They physically cannot enter. It's about lumens. 200 plus creates hard boundary. Anything less they can penetrate. Pete responds immediately. Danny, that matches what we're seeing. Flashlights work if they're bright enough. Phone lights are borderline. We're telling everyone 200 plus lumens minimum. Jenna, I'm showing her the screen. 200 lumens. That's the threshold. That's what we need to maintain. The LED headlamp I packed, that's 300 lumens. The DeWalt spotlight is 1,000. As long as we stay above 200 lumens, they can't reach us. What about when the batteries die? I don't answer, because that's the math I don't want to run. We've got maybe 40 hours of battery life total across all devices. 40 hours until we're in darkness. Unless sunrise, I say. Dr. Coleman asked if sunrise stops them. Pete, what happened at sunrise in Palisades? Text from Pete. They collapsed. All of them. Simultaneous. Soon as direct sunlight hit. Body temp dropped to 88. Assumed dead. Medical transported them. Mistake. They revived at sunset. Danny, they're not dead. They're dormant. Sunlight forces dormancy. Darkness activates them. Jenna reads over my shoulder. So we just need to survive until sunrise. That's... She checks her phone. 6 hours. We can survive 6 hours. And then what? They're dormant during the day. But at sunset they revive. So we've got 12 hours of safety, 12 hours of danger. Every single day. For how long? Until someone finds a cure. Until the government. The government. I'm pulling up the county EMA website. Last update was 90 minutes ago. Since then, nothing. I'm checking state emergency management. Nothing. Federal CDC website. Last update 4 hours ago. Generic shelter-in-place guidance for residents in affected areas of northern New Jersey. They don't know how to stop this, I tell Jenna. Or they know and they're not saying. Either way, we're on our own. My phone rings. Dr. Coleman again. Danny, your light threshold data, we're implementing it now. 200 lumens minimum. But we've got another problem. The infected that came into the hospital, they're not leaving. They're dormant now that we've got enough light, but they're not leaving. They're just standing there, in the hallways, in the rooms, wherever they stopped when we exceeded the lumen threshold. We've got 50, maybe 60 of them just standing in our corridors. Staff is terrified. Do we move them? Do we restrain them? What happens when darkness comes again? I'm thinking about the Palisades subdivision, the figures standing at property lines, waiting, organized, coordinated somehow. Don't move them, I say. Don't touch them. They're dormant, but that doesn't mean they're inactive. They might be aware, listening, learning. If you move them, if you restrain them, they might. Might what? Adapt. Silence on the line. Then, adapt how? I don't know. But Pete said they're organized, systematic. They're targeting light sources in order of weakness. That's not random behavior. That's strategy. If they can strategize, they can adapt. So don't give them new information. Don't let them learn how you're defending against them. Just maintain the light threshold and wait for sunrise. And at sunset? At sunset, make sure every entrance is lit at 300 lumens minimum. Make sure there's no way for them to find darkness to activate in. And hope that's enough. I hang up. Jenna's staring at me. They're adapting? Her voice is shaking. You think these things can learn? I don't know what they are. But they're not acting like mindless infected. They're acting like something with purpose. Like hunters. Hunters hunting what? Us. Everyone who's still fully human. Everyone who's still lit. Caleb's been quiet this whole time. Now he speaks up, his voice small. Dad, are we going to die? I should lie. I should tell him we're fine, everything's okay, we're safe. That's what parents do. But I'm looking at my 11-year-old son in the glow of the pilot's interior lights, and I'm thinking about Pete's kids and Dr. Coleman's hospital staff and the thousands of families sitting in traffic on 287 burning fuel and running down batteries. And the math, the terrible, inevitable math, is telling me that lies won't save him. I don't know, buddy, I say, but we're going to try really hard not to, okay? He nods, starts crying, quiet crying like his mom. Jenna unbuckles, climbs into the back seat, holds him. I'm in the front seat alone, staring at my laptop screen, at the spreadsheet showing infection patterns and transformation timelines and light sensitivity thresholds. And I'm thinking, even if we make it to the cabin, even if we survive tonight, what's our 40-hour plan? What happens when the generator runs out? When the batteries die? When we've used every light source we have and darkness is the only thing left? The cabin has windows. Good windows, double pane, but windows. And when darkness comes, when we're down to our last flashlight, our last candle, our last 200 lumens, what's stopping them from standing outside those windows and waiting? Just waiting for the inevitable moment when the light fails and they can finally come inside? I don't have an answer. My phone buzzes. Pete. Video call. I accept. Pete's face fills the screen. He's in the PSENG truck, parked somewhere dark. Behind him, I can see Linda and his two kids, Zoe and Tyler, ages 9 and 7. They're huddled together in the back seat. Every interior light on. Pete's holding a spotlight, keeping it trained out the windshield. Danny, we're running low on fuel. Maybe 3 hours left. Linda wants to make a run for her sister's place in Princeton. But I've been tracking the spread. Princeton's already reporting infections. Nowhere's safe. So I'm thinking your cabin. Pete's pond. You said it's isolated. No neighbors for 2 miles. If we can get there, if we can hold out there, maybe we've got a chance. I'm looking at Jenna. She's looking at me. The cabin sleeps 6 if we're crowded. We've got supplies for our family of 3. Pete's family of 4 would drain our resources fast. The generator runtime, I calculated 40 hours for 3 people. For 7 people, maybe 25 hours. Less if we're running multiple lights simultaneously. But Pete gave us the route. Pete sent the lumen threshold data. Pete's the reason we're not still sitting in gridlock on 287. Yeah, I say. Come to the cabin. I'll text you the address. Danny, Jenna starts. He saved us. I tell her. We save him. Pete's face breaks into something like relief. Thank you. We're leaving now. Should be there in. He checks something off screen. 4 hours. Maybe 5 with the back roads. Pete, be careful. They're adaptive. They're learning. Don't do anything predictable. Vary your route. Don't stop anywhere lit. They'll be waiting. Find the darkest paths and drive fast through them. Don't give them time to organize. Got it. See you soon. The call ends. Jenna's face is unreadable. Not angry. Not relieved. Just calculating like me. Running the math on 7 people versus 3. On 25 hours versus 40. We're going to run out of light, she says. Aren't we? Probably. And then what? I look at Caleb in the back seat. He stopped crying, just staring out the window at the darkness pressing against the glass. Then we make choices, I say. I put the pilot in drive. We're back on County Road 24, heading north. The darkness feels thicker now. Alive. I keep checking the rearview mirror, expecting to see figures standing in the road behind us. But there's nothing. Just empty darkness where our taillights fade. My phone buzzes. Dr. Coleman. Text. Danny, we're evacuating the hospital. Too many infected dormant inside. Staff can't work around them. We're taking patients north to Morristown Medical. Pray their lights hold. Thank you for the lumen data. You saved lives tonight. I don't feel like I saved anything. I feel like I just explained why we're all going to die in the dark. The cabin appears in our headlights at 2:47 a.m. 3 hours from when we left County Road 24. 3 hours of dark roads and empty highways and silence except for Caleb's breathing in the back seat. Pete's Pond. That's what my brother named it when he bought this place 8 years ago. Joke name because Pete is my brother's name too. Different Pete. Doesn't matter now. The cabin is rough-hewn logs and a metal roof. Sits on 4 acres with woods on 3 sides and the pond on the 4th. No neighbors. No street lights. No grid power. Everything runs on propane and the generator and a solar panel array that might give us 6 hours of charge on a good day. I'm pulling up to the cabin. Lights sweeping across the porch. When Jenna grabs my arm. Danny. Stop. I stop. Look at the porch. I'm looking. The rocking chair. My brother's stupid rocking chair that he bought at a yard sale. It's moving. Not wind. There's no wind. It's rocking like someone just stood up from it. Stay in the car, I tell them. I'm already out, grabbing the DeWalt spotlight from the back. 1,000 lumens. I'm keeping it trained on the porch, on the cabin door, on the windows. Nothing. Just the rocking chair slowing to a stop. I walk to the porch. Every step I'm thinking about infection patterns, about transformation timelines, about whether something could have beaten us here. The door is locked. I check. Windows intact. No signs of entry, but the chair was rocking. I'm checking the perimeter. Around the cabin, into the tree line, spotlight cutting through darkness. Nothing. No figures. No movement. Just trees and shadows and my own breathing too loud in my ears. Clear. I call back to Jenna. She's getting Caleb out of the pilot. I'm unloading supplies, flashlights, batteries, food, the camping gear I overpacked. The generator is in a shed behind the cabin. I'm checking it, Hyundai U2200i, like I remembered. Fuel tank full. Oil level good. I pull the starter cord. Catches on the third pull. The sound echoes across the pond. Inside, I'm turning on every light. The cabin has LED bulbs throughout. My brother upgraded last summer. I'm checking lumens with my phone's light meter app. Living room ceiling fixture, 320 lumens. Kitchen, 280 lumens. Bedroom, 240 lumens. All above threshold. Caleb's on the couch, already falling asleep. Jenna's checking the windows, making sure the locks work. They're old locks, the kind you could force with a screwdriver. How long can we stay here? She asks. I'm doing the math again. Generator runtime at current load, 24 hours. Solar panels might extend that to 30 hours if tomorrow's sunny. We've got batteries for the flashlights that add maybe another 8 hours of 200 plus lumen coverage. Total, 38 hours. Less than the 40 I calculated earlier because the cabin's bigger than I thought. Needs more lights running simultaneously to maintain threshold in every room. Day after tomorrow, I tell her. Sunset day after tomorrow will be in the dark. So what do we do? Hope Pete has ideas I don't. We're sitting in the living room, 3 a.m., watching Caleb sleep, when headlights appear through the window. Pete's truck. He's pulling up, passenger side toward the cabin. Every light on his vehicle blazing. I go out to meet them. Pete looks like hell. Exhausted, unshaven, eyes red. Linda and the kids are worse. Tyler is crying. Zoe is just staring straight ahead. 1,000-yard stare. Shell shock. Made it, Pete says. Barely. Route 46 is gone. Completely dark. We saw them, hundreds of them, just standing in the road. Had to detour through Hackettstown. That bought us maybe an hour before those roads go dark too. We're getting them inside. Linda's carrying supplies, their version of bug-out bags. Pete's got a large Pelican case. He sets it on the kitchen table, opens it. Brought tools, he says. Light meters, thermal cameras, radio equipment. If we're going to survive this, we need data. We need to understand what we're dealing with. I'm looking at the thermal camera. Professional grade. PSENG equipment. Pete, you stole this from work? Borrowed. Indefinitely. Look, I've been documenting everything. Every infection I saw. Every pattern. Every behavior. And Danny, there's something you need to know. Something I didn't want to say over the phone. Jenna's putting the kids to bed in the cabin's second bedroom. Pete waits until they're out of earshot. The infected at Palisades, he says quietly. When they went dormant at sunrise, I got close to one. Had my thermal camera. And Danny, they're not dormant. Their brain activity is elevated. Way elevated. Whatever's happening to them, it's not death. It's not sleep. It's something else. They're awake in there, thinking. And the pattern of thermal signatures suggests. He stops, pulls up images on his phone, shows me false color thermal scans of human heads. The infected ones have bright spots, hot spots in specific regions. Hypothalamus, he says. That's your body's thermostat, temperature regulation. And look at this, the suprachiasmatic nucleus. That's your circadian rhythm, your day-night cycle. Both regions are hyperactive. It's like they've been reprogrammed. Their bodies think darkness is daytime, light is nighttime. They're inverted. I'm staring at the images. You're saying this is biological? Not supernatural. I'm saying it's a disease that rewrites your circadian biology, makes you nocturnal, makes you cold-seeking instead of heat-seeking, makes you hunt light sources because light is painful to your reprogrammed system. And Danny, here's the thing that scares me. The transformation takes 6 to 8 hours, but exposure takes seconds. I watched it happen. Someone walked through a dark zone where an infected person was dormant. Just walked past them, didn't touch them, didn't get attacked. But 6 hours later, they started showing symptoms. Airborne, I say, airborne in darkness. In lit areas, the pathogen, whatever it is, it degrades. Can't survive in light. But in darkness, it spreads. One breath in an enclosed dark space with an infected person. That's all it takes. Jenna's back in the doorway. She heard everything. So we can't go outside at night, she says. We can't let darkness into the cabin. We can't breathe unlit air. We're trapped here. We're safe here, Pete corrects. As long as we maintain light threshold and positive air pressure. I can rig a system, cabin stays sealed, generator runs an air filtration unit, we keep lights on 24/7. We can survive. For how long? Ask. We've got 38 hours of power. Maybe 40 if we're lucky. Then we get more power. There's a hardware store in Newton, 15 miles from here. They'll have generators, fuel, batteries. We raid it tomorrow during daylight hours. Stock up. Come back here. We can extend our runtime to weeks, maybe months. And after months, Pete looks at me, really looks at me, and I see it in his eyes. He's run the same math I have. He knows the answer. After months, we hope someone finds a cure, he says. Or we become like them. Linda's in the doorway now too. What are you saying? I'm saying the infection rate is exponential. I'm saying by next week, 90% of the population could be infected. I'm saying the only people who survive will be the ones who can maintain constant light for however long this lasts. And I'm saying that might be impossible. The cabin is quiet, just the generator humming outside, just the LED lights buzzing slightly overhead, just 7 people breathing filtered air in a sealed wooden box surrounded by darkness. Caleb calls out from the bedroom, "Dad, can you come here?" I go to him. He's in bed, blanket pulled up to his chin, looking at the window. The curtains are closed, but he's staring at them like he can see through. "Dad, there's something outside." "How do you know?" "I can hear it. Breathing. First nothing, then I hear it. Slow, rhythmic breathing. Right outside the window, like someone's standing there. In the darkness beyond the glass. I grab a flashlight, the 300 lumen headlamp, and go outside. Pete follows me with his thermal camera. We're circling the cabin, lights sweeping the tree line. The breathing stops the moment we step outside. Pete's checking his thermal camera. "Danny, look at this." The screen shows heat signatures. Lots of them. In the woods surrounding the cabin. Dozens. All standing perfectly still. All facing the cabin. All maintaining exact distance from the lights we're projecting. "They followed us," Pete whispers. "Or they were already here. Doesn't matter. They know we're here now. They're waiting. For what? For our lights to fail." We go back inside. I'm doing new calculations. 7 people breathing in a sealed cabin. Oxygen consumption rate. CO2 buildup. Even with air filtration, we need air exchange, which means opening doors or windows, which means letting in darkness, which means exposure. I'm running numbers in my head. With 7 people, maybe we've got 12 hours before CO2 levels get dangerous. With filtration and careful air management, maybe 20 hours. But that assumes we stay inside. Don't open doors. Don't go out for supplies. The Newton hardware store plan is dead. We can't leave. Not with them surrounding us. Jenna reads my face. We're trapped. Yeah. How long can we survive trapped? I don't answer. Because the math says 20 hours until air quality kills us or we have to open a door. And opening a door means exposure. And exposure means transformation. We're in the living room, all 7 of us, sitting in a circle of light, when Pete's radio crackles. He's got it tuned to emergency frequencies. Static. Then a voice. "All units? Infection rate now estimated at 60% of population in affected areas. Mandatory evacuation order extended to all of New Jersey north of Interstate 195. CDC has established quarantine zone at Delaware River. Anyone attempting to cross will be turned back. Repeat, will be turned back. Pennsylvania has closed all borders to New Jersey residents. New York has closed all borders. Delaware River is now a hard boundary. All bridges destroyed at 0400 hours. The transmission cuts to static. Pete looks at me. They blew the bridges. They're containing it. They're abandoning us. Everyone north of 195. That's 4 million people. They're leaving us here to either survive or transform. Linda starts crying. Real crying now, not the quiet kind. Her kids hear it and start crying too. Jenna's holding Caleb. I'm just sitting there, staring at the radio, thinking about bridges exploding and borders closing and 4 million people trapped in the dark with something that rewrites your biology until you become the darkness yourself. My phone buzzes. Text from Dr. Coleman. Danny, the CDC called me. Wanted my infection data. I gave them everything including your lumen thresholds. They asked if we'd found a cure. I said no. They said they're working on it. Then they told me Morristown Medical is being evacuated. They're pulling all medical staff south of 195. They're leaving patients who can't travel. Danny, they're leaving them to transform. This is triage on a civilizational scale. I show the text to Pete. He reads it twice. So that's it, he says. We're on our own. No rescue coming. No cure coming. Just us and however long we can keep the lights on. How long can we keep the lights on? Linda asks. I'm looking at my spreadsheet on my laptop, running the numbers one more time, with 7 people, with air quality constraints, with the infected surrounding us, with no resupply possible, with no escape route. 16 hours, I say. We've got 16 hours before we have to make a choice. What choice? And here it is. The choice. The one I've been running from since we left our house. The one that's been waiting at the end of all my calculations. We can stay inside and maintain lights and suffocate from CO2 buildup, I say. Or we can open the cabin to vent air and expose ourselves to infection. Or we can turn off some lights to extend generator runtime and hope we stay above threshold. Or we can send someone outside to the generator shed to add fuel and risk exposure. Every option costs something we can't afford to lose. Jenna's voice is hollow. You're saying there's no way to survive. I'm saying every path leads to the same place. We're just choosing how we get there. Pete stands up. No, there's another option. We fight back. We go out there right now while we're still strong, still human, and we eliminate the infected around the cabin. Create a perimeter. Push them back far enough that we can operate safely. With what? We don't have weapons. We have lights. High-intensity lights. We blast them with 1,000 lumens. They can't approach. We sweep the perimeter, clear them out, establish a safe zone. Pete, there are dozens of them. We saw the thermal imaging. So we move fast. We work as a team. We don't stop until they're gone. Linda's shaking her head. You'll get infected. You'll breathe contaminated air. You'll come back here and transform, and then we're all exposed. Then I don't come back. I stay outside. I keep the perimeter clear. I maintain the barrier until sunrise. Then I'll be dormant and you can bring me inside and keep me lit until we figure out what to do next. That's suicide. That's buying time. Pete looks at his kids. Tyler and Zoe, 9 and 7, crying on the couch. That's being a father. I understand what he's saying, what he's offering. One person sacrifices themselves to extend the survival time for everyone else. It's the trolley problem. It's triage. It's the math that says 1 death is better than 7. But it's Pete. Pete who gave us the route. Pete who sent the lumen data. Pete whose kids are sitting right there watching their father volunteer to walk into darkness. There's another option, I hear myself saying. We use the cabin's resources to keep the kids alive. The 5 adults, we take shifts outside, rotating exposure. We each go out for 30 minutes, maintain the perimeter, come back in. By the time each of us would transform, we'd have bought 6 hours total. Enough time for full sunrise. Then we're all dormant together and the kids can maintain lights over us until sunset. And at sunset, we all wake up transformed. Jenna finishes. And then what happens to our kids? I don't have an answer for that, because the math doesn't give me one. The math says we're all going to transform eventually. The math says the kids will be alone in a cabin surrounded by darkness, surrounded by us. Their parents, transformed into something that hunts them. Caleb is looking at me, his 11-year-old face trying to process what we're discussing. Whether his dad is going to walk outside and become a monster. Whether his mom is going to leave him alone with the things that used to be his parents. Dad, he says, don't go outside. Please don't go outside. Tyler and Zoe are crying harder now. Linda's trying to comfort them. Pete's at the kitchen table with his head in his hands. Jenna's just staring at the floor, and I'm standing in the middle of the cabin with my laptop showing me spreadsheets full of impossible math, and I'm realizing that every single number leads to the same conclusion. There is no scenario where we all survive. There is no calculation that saves everyone. There is no right answer. There's just the choice of who dies first and how much time that buys for the others. 16 hours, I say again, quieter now. We have 16 hours to decide which of us goes into the darkness so the others can see one more sunrise. The cabin is silent except for the generator and the crying and the breathing of the things outside our windows. Waiting, always waiting, for our lights to fail, for our choices to run out, for the darkness to win. It's 4:17 p.m., 43 hours since we left our house. The cabin generator died at 6:22 a.m. today. We've been on flashlights and phone lights since then. Pete went outside at 2:47 a.m., took the spotlight, said he'd maintain the perimeter until sunrise. We watched him through the window for 20 minutes. Watched him sweep his 1,000-lumen beam through the trees. Watched the thermal signatures retreat from the light. Watched him create a safe zone around the cabin. Then his spotlight dimmed. Batteries dying faster than he calculated. He kept going anyway, kept sweeping, kept the perimeter. The light dropped below 200 lumens at 3:14 a.m. I was tracking it with my light meter app pressed against the window glass. At 3:16 a.m. he stopped moving. At 3:22 a.m. he was standing with them, facing the cabin, body temperature dropping. I could see it on the thermal camera he left inside. Linda watched her husband transform. I'm not sure she's spoken since. Sunrise came at 6:41 a.m. Pete collapsed like the rest of them. We went outside, Jenna and I. Linda stayed with the kids. We found 53 bodies in the woods around the cabin. Dormant, cold, breathing slowly. Pete was in front. We dragged him inside, kept lights on him all day. His body temperature stabilized at 88 degrees. Brain activity visible on the thermal camera. Elevated in the hypothalamus. Just like he documented. He's standing in the corner of the living room right now. Has been since sunset 43 minutes ago. Eyes open, not blinking. Body temperature at 91 degrees. He's looking at Linda and the kids, but there's nothing behind his eyes. Nothing human. We're maintaining 240 lumens in this room. He can't approach. Can't move closer than the shadow line where the light drops below threshold. He just stands there, waiting. The flashlights are dying. We've got maybe 3 hours of light left. Then phone lights. Then nothing. Caleb knows. He's 11 years old and he knows his father is going to transform into something like Pete. Knows his mother is going to transform. Knows he's going to be alone with things that look like his parents but hunt him. I tried to run the math for him. Tried to explain the pattern. Tried to give him a framework for understanding what happens next. But there is no framework. There's just darkness coming and no equation that solves it. Jenna's not talking to me. Hasn't since this morning when I suggested we send Caleb outside. Let him run into the woods while we draw the infected here. Give him a chance to survive alone in the daylight hours. She looked at me like I'd already transformed, like I was already the monster. Maybe I am. Maybe suggesting we sacrifice our son to buy him a few more days qualifies. Maybe that's when I stopped being human, when I started calculating which life had the most survival potential. Tyler is crying again. He's 7 years old. He keeps asking when his dad will be normal again. Linda tells him soon, lies to him. What else can she do? Tell him the truth? That his dad is gone and the thing in the corner wearing his dad's face is hunting them, and when the lights die it will walk across the room and breathe on him and he'll join it? Zoe hasn't spoken since Pete went outside. 9 years old. She just sits on the couch and stares at the thing that used to be her father. The CDC never called back. Dr. Coleman never texted again. The emergency radio went silent at noon. We're listening to static now. Just static and our own breathing and Pete's breathing in the corner and the 53 other breathing patterns surrounding the cabin in the darkness outside. I keep checking my spreadsheet. Keep running calculations. Keep hoping the numbers will show me something I missed. Some variable I didn't account for. Some equation that solves for everyone surviving. But the numbers don't lie. They never did. We've got 2 hours and 47 minutes of flashlight power. Then 40 minutes of phone lights. Then darkness. Then transformation. Then the kids are alone with us. Caleb just asked me if it hurts. The transformation. If he'll feel it happening. I told him I don't know, which is true, but I've been thinking about it. About Pete's thermal imaging. About elevated brain activity. About being awake inside a body that's been reprogrammed. About maybe still being conscious when you're standing in the darkness waiting to hunt your own family. That's the thing I can't calculate. The thing my spreadsheet doesn't have a column for. Are we still in there? When we transform? When we're standing dormant in the sunlight or active in the darkness? Are we aware? Are we screaming inside our reprogrammed biology while our bodies hunt the people we love? I hope not. I hope transformation is like sleep, like anesthesia, like nothing. But Pete's brain activity says otherwise. Says we're awake. Says we're thinking. Says some part of us knows exactly what we're doing and can't stop it. Jenna's hand finds mine in the lamplight. Her fingers are ice cold. I love you, she says. I need you to know that. Before. I love you. I love you too. I'm sorry I didn't want to leave the house earlier. I'm sorry I trusted the county EMA. It wouldn't have mattered. We'd have run out of light eventually. No matter when we left. No matter where we went. The math was always the same. I hate that you're right. Me too. Linda's putting Tyler and Zoe to bed in the second bedroom. She's telling them a story. I can hear her voice through the door, keeping it steady, keeping them calm, being a mother until the very end. The flashlight in that room has 90 minutes of charge. I'm writing this on my laptop. 2% battery remaining. No way to charge it. Generator's dead. Solar panels couldn't charge it during the day because I used the battery bank to extend our lighting runtime. Another calculation. Another choice. Another wrong answer that was also the only answer. I'm writing this because someone should document what happened. How it spread. What we tried. How we failed. Maybe someday someone will find this laptop in a cabin surrounded by dormant infected. Maybe they'll have figured out a cure. Maybe they'll read this and understand we did everything we could with the resources we had. Maybe they'll understand that the real horror wasn't the transformation, wasn't the darkness, wasn't even the choices. The real horror was the math, was knowing exactly when and how you'd fail and being unable to do anything but watch it happen. Was running every calculation and having them all end the same way. Was being smart enough to see the end coming but not smart enough to stop it. 1% battery. The flashlight in the living room just dimmed. Below 200 lumens. Pete's moving. Walking toward us. Jenna's grabbing Caleb. I'm grabbing the DeWalt Spotlight last power tool battery, almost dead. I'm training it on Pete. He stops. Stands at the edge of the shadow line. Waiting. Caleb's crying. Dad. I don't want you to become like Mr. Duval. I know, buddy. I don't want that either. Can't we do something? Can't you calculate something? I already did, kid. I calculated everything. And every path led here. To this moment. To this cabin. To this choice between suffocating in light or transforming in darkness. Because at least that's fast. At least that gives you kids a few more hours with the lights on. At least that's a father's job. Buying time for his kids even when he knows it's not enough time to matter. The laptop's dying. Can't finish this. Can't explain the rest. Can't tell you how it ends because I'll be gone before it does. Jenna's holding Caleb. Linda's with her kids in the bedroom. I'm standing between them and Pete with the last working spotlight. The showing 28% charge. 27. 26. The math says 14 minutes until darkness. The math says I transform first. Then Jenna. Then Linda. Then the kids are alone with 3 dormant bodies during daylight hours and 3 active hunters after sunset. The math says Caleb survives maybe 6 days alone in the cabin. Then his lights fail and he transforms too. The math says everyone transforms eventually. The math was always going to say that. I just didn't want to believe it. 22%. I love you, Caleb. I love you, Jenna. I'm sorry I couldn't calculate a way to save you. I'm sorry logistics and supply chains and pandemic modeling don't work against something that rewrites biology. I'm sorry I kept promising we'd be okay when the numbers were telling me we wouldn't. I'm sorry I was right about the math. 19%. Pete's still waiting. The others outside are waiting. All of them waiting for the inevitable moment when our lights fail and they can finally come inside. Not long now. The darkness always wins. That's the calculation I couldn't accept. That's the answer I couldn't change. The darkness always.